really camera for me is a monitor that way. Sometimes it's me putting stuff in like tea, coffee. I didn't get any coffee. I don't actually get it.
Oh, yeah. Everywhere.
Narnia? Good evening. Just a note, if you would like to speak tonight, the sign-in sheets are over there for your 3 minutes of public speaking on the table right there. We just need to fill those out prior to the starting of the meeting. Thank you. You ready to? You ready? Okay. Good evening, and thank you for attending. We usually start our meeting with the invocation, so if everybody would like to stand, I'll have Councilman Hawkins do that for us.
Holy Father, we thank you for the blessing of this community that you've given us. Thank you, Father, for the people that founded it. Thank you, Father, for the people that came and established themselves here and built up this community, for all those who came after them, put a stake in the ground, establish this community that we have today, Father, for it's a beautiful place. Thank you for it. We thank you, Father, for those who work in our community, in our city, and serve it. We thank you, Father, for those volunteers who come here and give their time that we might preserve it and grow it as you would have it to be. Pray, Father, this evening you would give us your wisdom, your discernment, and your guidance as we consider our agenda. Thank you, Father, for these blessings of our community. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. All right, we call our meeting to order. It's 6:30 p.m. and we'll start that with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor this flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Okay. We do have a full quorum tonight, and everybody is present. All right. So regular agenda items. 2A, discuss and consider approval of an ordinance of the City of Bulverde, Texas, amending the fiscal year 25-26 budget for restricted parks funds, expenditures, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and providing an effective date.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is just a budget cleanup to recognize the expense that the Park Fund wants to purchase the chess table and the cornhole items, and then they also, I think, have some other items that they were talking about maybe purchasing as well. So I'd like to go ahead and acknowledge or move the monies over to the expense line, the full amount that they received, $15,000. There we go. The $15,681 and 60 cents of the restricted monies. Like to just recognize the expense line. We already recognized it as a revenue in the budget line item, so now I just need to recognize it as an expense item.
Comments, questions?
Yeah, I like this.
Okay.
Well, since I was over Zoom last time, it was kind of hard to say, but I would like to thank the Parks Board for your recommendation and for doing a fantastic job gathering community input and dedicating your time to find creative things to put at this park. I look forward to seeing the increase in traffic and enjoyment by all that comes from this new addition. So thank you.
Any more discussion?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
We spoke about the items last time as being $8,000. Do you remember off the top of your head what the other line items here is?
So with the two invoices or quotes that I have, it's $8,243.60. The remainder item that I've heard, I'm not sure they were talking about exercise equipment, some items to put out so that you can go and work out. I don't know what else the Parks and Recs. Do you have any input on that?
Yes, so
We just had our Parks and Rec board meeting. We didn't vote on any exercise equipment, so that's still in discussion. So whenever they vote and discuss what they're going to bring, I'll bring that to council.
does it make sense to move it all over now, or should we move it when the expense comes in.
I mean, it's up to you. I know that they're going to try to expense all of it, so rather than come back and have to present again, just do it once, get it
Yeah,
done.
just time.
Questions?
I will make a motion that we approve an ordinance of the city of Old Verde, Texas, amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget, dealing conflicting ordinances, providing severability clause, providing effective.
Second.
Any in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
To be discussion of possible action to approve the city of Old Verde employee benefit rates and plan offerings through the Texas Health Benefits Pool for the upcoming plan year.
Mayor, council, we met with our Texas Health Benefit Pool account manager, and the original quote that we got was they were going to increase our medical expenditure, just the medical, 16%. The dental, the vision, the life insurance, the voluntary life will all remain the same. So he came back with some different options. I presented to you the different options that he put before us, and staff would like to recommend that we go with the fourth option with the 11.1% increase to medical funds. What that does, let's see, it will increase the employee's deductible of $250. It will increase the individual out-of-pocket network deductible $500, and the individual out-of-pocket maximum will increase $2,000. Other than that, there are no changes to the plan. The expense for the employee only is $779.60 is what the renewal rate will be. With this plan, it will be $747.16. And then I put before you some of the different options and how it's going to play out with each of the different planned options and how it's going to affect each of the departments.
Sharon,
Yes, ma'am.
just, so on here, the top one is the original one, if I'm understanding that correct.
Correct. That's the original plan with the 16% increase.
So this isn't the current, what we've
Correct.
been paying 25-26.
Correct.
This runs January through December, right? So
No, this is October through September. This new plan will become effective October 1.
okay, so it'll go through October through September. Okay, so this is 25-26 at the top. And then the next four were the different.
No, they're all going to be the 26-27 plan. If we, with the current plan that we have, the renewal is going to be 16%. And then that's with the same deductible, same everything. The plan will be 16%. And then the other four options are with the changes in the employee deductible. Let's see.
So none of the items on this chart reflect the current year
Correct.
expenditure.
That is correct.
Because I thought the top was the current. All right. Because you said there's four, so the 1, 2, 3, there's actually five. The current, there's five.
Yeah, so with the renewal that we are expecting will be 16%, no changes in the plan.
That's the top line.
That's the top line at 16%.
But you're saying we want to go with the fourth one, which
We want to go
11-17.
with, what's option 3 with the $1,000 deductible, $2,000 out of pocket. It's the 11.17%.
So the average benefit cost savings, if we go with that option, is $500 a year per employee. Am I reading that correctly? Roughly?
Average cost per employee, that's how much we pay, is at $20,227 per employee with this plan.
Right, if we had just accepted the rate increase and left
Correct.
everything
Yeah.
differently, it would only be $500 more
Per employee
for the year.
for the year.
This last page, page 11, so will make that big of a difference to our existing workforce and their habits in terms of the deductible.
Okay, Sandra, can you come one more page? Okay, what was your question? I'm sorry.
So on page 11 of the please note that the report here is deductible, and it talks about how many members have met the individual deductibles.
Yes.
So with what we're looking to adopt, it will not have a significant impact.
Correct, and that was the idea with that plan. That's why we chose that, because we do have so many members that do meet the deductible.
Got it.
We tried to make it as painless for the employee as possible.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But we can't do anything for the co-pays.
No.
Those are rough.
Yeah, and we actually talked to them about trying to get the prescriptions taken into another plan, and he said no, because we're not self-insured, we're unable to do that.
So you recommend that, we're recommending that we go with 4, which is 11.17.
11.17, correct.
I'll make a motion that,
Hang on a second, I have one more question.
Okay.
Mike, we have how many employees currently?
41.
41.
So we're looking at a cost savings to the city by going this route of $20,000 more or less?
Roughly.
And the cost potentially to the employees, especially the folks who are maxing out every year, could potentially be $2,000 additional dollars out of their pockets.
looks like we'd be 350.
Here's kind of where I'm going with this. I'm wondering if it's worth a $20,000 savings to the city to put that on the back of our employees when they're already spent in.
One member has met the family out of pocket.
Yeah.
But we have 20 members who've met the individual deductible. Just a thought.
I share that thought with you. That's why I asked.
We're just trying to save, we're trying to balance here.
I get it.
I mean, you look to me to try and balance the budget and make it work. I'd love to go in and come at you with 16% and say, that's what we have to have.
We have another budget meeting this week,
We can't afford to delay this.
so we can't push this decision.
We gotta have a decision tonight.
Yeah, the insurance is harder enough. I mean, this is a problem. It's a big problem. I mean, it's going up. This is a lot, but it's going up. It's hitting everybody.
Yeah.
Bad. So I think the consensus too, this is y'all's recommendation from the city. It's tough. You got to balance the budget and meet the needs of the employees. So
Who is this through?
Texas Health Benefit Pool. And we also took into account that this plan will allow the employees to keep their current providers, to keep their current prescriptions, to keep everything that they have as is, no changes.
That is a big deal.
If we start, you start messing around with different providers, it could take them 6 months.
I'm saying, is a $20,000 savings to the city, and don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting we do profit, right? But we're pushing that savings off on the employees. Are we better off from an employee perspective to just take the 16% increase and not?
I think the employees will always tell you that, hey, don't screw with my plan, leave it exactly as it is right now. That's what everybody wants. You pay me to advocate on behalf of the city as a whole.
Right.
And to take into perspective, not just the people in this room, but the people beyond this building.
Sure.
So that's what we're trying to do here also. I mean, I end up looking like crap here because I'm implementing a plan that affects our employees or affects them negatively. But in that same manner, I have a budget to balance.
No, we get it.
We get it.
I mean, really.
This is not
It's
criticism.
tough.
This is not criticism.
I mean, it's still a good insurance
It
plan.
is.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
still
a great
good
insurance
plan. I mean, it's just everyone's getting hit with insurance. I'm getting hit with it. Everyone is. It's just
It is a balancing act. We've gone years at 2%, 4%, 0%, and this is a year that we're getting hit hard.
Right.
Well, and the other thing to keep
Mostly.
into account is too, we're very generous in the coverage that we offer for the employees at 100%. and then 60% for the employee spouse or dependents.
I actually did a little research on this and we're on the high end of average for municipalities, so, okay.
Okay, I'll make a,
Theoretically speaking, if in the hopefully near future conditions improve, would it be amenable then to return your plans to its current state?
It just depends on what the insurance company offers, what they offer us next year, or what's available to them.
I will give you the answer. I've never seen that happen.
Yeah.
It's only going
Just
up.
never
Now,
happened.
one thing to
Not
keep in
going-
mind, if we do come within a certain range of our claims as opposed to what we've paid in, they do issue refunds back to the city. So, and we just had a big year with a lot of new babies and things that have happened. So it's just been a big year on our claims. I think 84%.
84% was our
That's where we're at.
utilization rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe next year, I don't know.
I'll go with it.
okay, again, I'll make a motion that we adopt plan number 4 as presented.
Thank you.
By y'all.
I will second that motion.
All right. We'll have a vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
All right. 2C, hold a public hearing to consider a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department to afford in place rubber surfacing at the large playground in Wolverty Community Park and authorizing the allocation of $35,000 as the city's contribution toward the required 50% matching funds.
Mayor, no one has signed up
Okay,
on any topic.
all right, then we'll move on. 2D, discuss and consider the approval of a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Texas Park and Wildlife Department for in place rubber surfacing at the large playground in Wolverty Community Park and authorizing the allocation of $35,000 as the city's contribution toward the required 50% matching funds.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item was brought back from our last council meeting. That way we could hold a public meeting in order to discuss and consider the approval of the resolution. So if you have any questions, I'd like to answer for you.
How do repairs go on the Ford Place?
Actually, they're going well. Staff has actually repaired a couple of the spots already. And we actually received, excuse my voice, some of the material for that, for the fix for free. So it's just basically my guys doing the work itself. So
Patchwork.
yeah, it's actually, I think Mr. Castro's going out there and seeing it too as well. It's pretty good. Guys did a good job.
Questions? Questions on this file? Councilman Hawkins, Watson? Okay, oh wait, Hawkins.
So this, we're requesting the match, but we are not addressing the actual situation that we have. So the match might probably come next fiscal year,
Yes.
later in the next fiscal year. But as I remember, we all felt that was as expedient as we could possibly be to get the repairs done, recognizing that there was a safety risk.
And to address that, the repairs that the guys are making will subside some of that emergency or that address some of the safety issues there.
Okay.
So the repairs will hold up, and we even verified with the manufacturer. They'll hold up for about another year to 2 years. So
No
and
time to get grant.
enough time to get the grant.
Stopgap.
Yes.
So I know one of the questions was that if it was over the 35,000, we would still match and we would pull from the budget.
Yes.
That would be another approval to council to be
We
able to
come
pull
back
that.
and ask for that authorization, yes.
I have a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve resolution authorizing the city staff to submit a grant application to Texas Parks and Wildlife for in place driver surfacing at Bulverde Community Park.
Second,
Vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Three. Will the public hearing consider the approval of an ordinance of the city of Bulverde, Texas, approving a special use permit at 5235 FM 1863, Bulverde, Texas 78163, to permit the operation of a short-term rental, amending the zoning ordinance, directing the amendment of the zoning map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
Mayor and members of council, what you see before you is a request basically to convert an existing single-family home into a Airbnb or something similar to that. The Planning and Zoning Commission did meet on this. The staff report contains a typo. The commission recommended denial unanimously. It does say here right after denial that it was approved, but it was not. Did the applicant attend tonight? Doesn't look like she did. So the applicant's not here to speak on behalf of their request. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Do I have any questions, discussion? Discussions?
I have one
Yeah.
question.
Wait, go ahead.
We have an ordinance that speaks to B and Bs, is that right? As
Bed and
separate,
breakfast, yes, as a separate, but they're also only authorized by SUP. So
okay,
we advise the applicant to seek a broader authorization for what did I call it here? Short-term rental, because you've got to be there with the basket of muffins in the morning to count.
if
as a
it's a,
B&B.
yeah, that's why, and that's really the distinction, right?
But they're both approved by the same process. So
Okay,
since they would have gone through this anyway, we recommended seeking a wider authorization.
I understand. Yeah, I understand, her husband has medical problems and they can't move into the house right away. You know, the SUP is going to be retained and transferred with the property forever. So, she seems like a nice lady. I'm sure she'd keep a tight ship, but I can't say for people that follow after her, the same SUPs are on. They'll look out for the community as a whole. I think maybe a short-term rental or I mean, a lease or rental of property would be better.
I'm gonna make a motion to deny 2Es. And to deny the ordinance of the city of Bulverde, Texas, approving a special use permit at 5235 FM 1863, Bulverde, Texas 78163, to permit the operation of short-term rental, amending the zoning ordinance, directing the amendment of the zoning map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
I'll second.
I got a second
When
from
you do it.
Ms. Watson.
That's a fourth.
Yeah.
She can have it.
All of those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Hold a public hearing, consider the approval of an ordinance of the city of Bulverde, Texas, approving a special use permit located on approximately 0.23 acre lot on the east side of Blanco Road and approximately 250 feet north of the intersection of Blanco Road and Bell Oaks Boulevard to permit an equipment storage enclosure for an existing water booster pump station, amending the zoning ordinance, directing the amendment of the zoning map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date. And Sandra, you said we had nobody signed up. Okay, so no discussion, no comments on this one, and we'll just move ahead with you.
Mayor, members of council, what we have here is a legal non-conforming use. This booster station was installed prior to the annexation of these properties into the city. The applicant is seeking to add a small structure next to the existing equipment to change the method of disinfection from chlorine bleach gas to a more standard industrial version of regular bleach. And they correct me if I'm wrong about that. The city sent out notices. We didn't receive any comments back in opposition or in favor, and I'll be happy to turn over to the applicant unless you have some questions for me.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Rachel Tackett, and I'm representing Texas Water Company and Kinley Horn. Thank you for your time and consideration. We're here to present a request for a special use permit for an existing Texas Water Company property located on Blanco Road, identified as Lot 3, Block 2 of the Bell Oaks Phase 1 subdivision in the Bulverde city limits. The property is approximately 0.23 acres and is currently zoned R2. While the zoning classification is residential, this tract has functioned as a dedicated water utility site since November 2015 and supports existing infrastructure that provides potable water service to the surrounding community. The purpose of this special use permit request is to formally align the zoning designation with the existing and historically permitted use of the property and to allow for minor site improvements necessary to maintain compliance with TCEQ. The proposed maintenance improvements include installation of a 10 by 15 foot stone enclosure, approximately 12 feet in height, to store required equipment to maintain water quality. In summary, this request does not introduce a new use, but rather formalizes an existing longstanding water utility use that serves the surrounding community. The proposed improvements are necessary to provide water system redundancy and resiliency for regulatory compliance and consistent with all recorded easements and agreements governing the tract. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do I have any questions on this? Do I have any questions on this? Because I have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What chemicals will be stored in the enclosure and what spill containment, rain protection, emergency response measures will be required for construction or operation?
So the chemicals that are on the property currently all comply with Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. The proposed chemicals that are going to be installed will also be permitted through TCEQ as well. In terms of containment, the storage container that the chemical is stored in is actually what's called double wall. So it has a containment structure within it that when the initial inside containment structure maybe leaks, the chemical will then kind of seep into the secondary area to not leak into the building. So.
And one second question, since 8 oak trees are proposed for removal and no landscaping is planned, is there any feasible screening or tree mitigation that not conflicts with water restrictions or TCEQ requirements?
That's something we have not looked into further. I mean, anything is possible technically, but I would have to have further conversations with Texas Water.
So I'm Ted Ryan with Texas Water. We try to maintain our sites with hardscape and as low maintenance with watering plants and trimming plants as possible. Is generally how we try to run our sites.
Further questions?
Anything else on this?
Yeah, what would be the conforming use? I guess the zoning, it's an R2 right now, so what's the conforming use proposed? I mean,
The use doesn't conform, that's why they need concession.
so what would it,
This would make, this booster station a conforming use on this property.
okay, so this is inclusive of the structure too and
Right
the,
now,
okay.
it's not conforming use because it can't be expanded.
Right.
Since this is an expansion, they need an authorization now for the new configuration of the whole
Okay.
site.
So it'll stay in R2 with the
It will stay
SUV.
away, if this ever gets out, booster pump station or R2 residential hall.
Okay, gotcha, okay. And this is a redundant use system, is that what this is for redundancy? Is that what I heard?
This is a change in disinfection product.
Okay.
So the current disinfection product that's on the site is approved by TCEQ, but it is an older type of disinfection that's chlorine gas, whereas the type of disinfection that's proposed is sodium hypochlorite bleach, which is basically industrial grade bleach. And so that'll, right, exactly, it's safer to store.
Yeah, highly stable. We don't have to deal with cylinders, chlorine gas, easier for deliveries.
And then that serves the residents obviously all behind it as well, right? That would be impacted by that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any.
So about 2 years ago, Cornwall County Commissioner Precinct 2 Scott Hogg was here along with Cornwall County engineers, and they gave us a presentation about the expansion of Black Hawk Road and future plans for it. At that time, they told us they were in the process of acquiring about 75 feet of right of way on each side of the current Black Hawk Road to expand the total right of way to approximately 150 feet, where they plan eventually to have 2 lanes, northbound, southbound, and a center turning lane. You're nowhere within 75, you're way inside 75 feet here, so what's gonna be the plan when they expand that?
So I'll address that. This road in front of the facility is a city street. It's not included in the county suspension. We had to annex, because state law requires the city to annex any county road that is adjacent to city new annexation. Right, we can take this portion of Lakeville Road adjacent to Bellows Ranch where we annex. So the county will not be conducting that.
So they're not gonna expand that portion of it?
No, it's ours. If anyone's gonna expand it, it'd have to be us. And there's severe issues over here with the existing neighborhood and the power.
Yeah, I
lines.
saw that when I looked at the map, but it doesn't make any sense, Danny, if they're gonna expand that to 150 feet of right of way, 2 lanes, and then you hit Lombardi, and it's two lanes that
Well,
start there.
It's easy for them to do because there's a lot of free space on the areas they're looking at. And the most restricted area is the one that we have.
Right.
I don't think the project could move forward if they had to do this section. Because of the expense of moving those power lines. This stuff, it would be orders of magnitude, this one section would be orders of magnitude more expensive than the rest of the project, in my opinion. And yeah, you're right, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you about that.
But it's gonna create a substantial choke point, just like the expansion of how 281 now only dumps down across the Civil Road. And now everybody backs up. Yeah, it's gonna create the same thing on White Road, as well. But that's not your concern.
Councilman Watson.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. The application says that this is enclosure and intended for the storage of low-grade water treatment chemicals. When I watched back the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, there was discussion about new equipment that's gonna be installed as part of this new building, and I'm wondering if we've received any information about noise levels or, you know, other impacts of having new, previously unused equipment on that site.
Yeah, so the equipment that's gonna be installed in the building is basically like a high school chemistry lab type pump that it basically goes on the wall. I mean, not that it's not quiet, but it basically like clicks. It makes like a clicking sound. So there's no motor, there's no diesel motor, there's no electric motor that would make a lot of sound associated with that. Like I said, it'll go on like a 5x5 skid that'll be mounted to the wall. There will be 2 of them because if one of them goes out, then we have to have a second one. But it's almost like a high school chemistry lab type, or like a biological college type lab.
Think margarita machine.
To page 65 and 66, so she can see what she's talking about.
And it will be inside.
The one before that. See how they have that like water softener thing inside there?
Yeah.
There'll be 2 of those.
Yeah, I raised the question only because the alcohol.
Yeah, it's how they apply it.
Yeah. I raised the question only because the application explicitly says storage of chemicals, does not speak to equipment at all. So
Sure.
I don't know, does that impact if we grant an SUP on the basis of the fact that we've granted chemical storage? Does that prevent them from?
Use requested equipment storage info on the very first page of the application. And if the chemicals are necessary for the operation of the equipment, it's necessary, it doesn't have to be specifically. If it's a bleach pump, you're allowed to have a pump and bleach.
Okay. All right, that was it.
So it's just, so the old stuff, it was just pouring gas, and now it's sodium hypochlorite. And you said multiple chemicals, is there also sodium bisulfate, or is it just hypochlorite?
Just hypochlorite.
Okay, and the venting, that's mainly for the storage tank itself as an off-gas? Or is the pump also vented?
No, in terms of venting, the actual venting will happen within the existing ground storage tank that's on the site. It's about 50,000 gallons. It's the green color. We've got a Google Maps image if you're able to flip to that. The actual mixing of the chemical will occur in the existing ground storage tank. And that's in order
So
for
the hypochlorite storage will be the existing structure that's already there.
Sorry, no. I'm sorry. I think I may have misunderstood what you're asking. The storage of the chemical will be in the building, and the ancillary equipment for injecting the chemical into the water will be stored within the building. And then the actual mixing will occur in the existing ground storage tank. So any off-gassing would come from that existing ground storage tank.
Okay, but the chemical also off-gasses too, right?
It's in an enclosed container. I mean, technically, it'll off-gas maybe a
Just
slight
little
bit.
Which I think is mostly oxygen too.
Right.
But I'm just
Exactly.
getting at, like, is there like carbon filters or scrubbers? Or is it?
No, with the nature of the chemical, it's kind of a natural disinfectant.
Right,
So
right.
if anything, it's kind of cleaning the air a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, and those are easy out.
Okay, the building that's currently there, small little white building, is it gonna stay? Is it going away?
everything that's on the site is going to stay.
It will stay. All right, I make a motion to approve the ordinance of the City of Bulverde, Texas, approving a special use permit located on approximately 0.23 acre lot on the east side of Blanco Road and approximately 250 feet north of the intersection of Blanco Road and Bell Oaks Boulevard to permit an equipment storage enclosure for an existing water booster pump station, amending the zoning ordinance, directing the amendment of the zoning map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, 2G, discuss and consider the approval of an ordinance granting a variance to section 17.04.003 cuts in section 1704.004 fills of the City of Bulverde Code of Ordinances at 20285 State Highway 46 West, Bulverde, Texas 78163, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing severability clause, and establishing an effective date. Okay.
All right, Mayor and members of council, this is the property located between the Starbucks and the gas station there at the corner of 281 and 46. The applicant is seeking authorization for multi-tenant rental space, a retail building. They need, in order to create a level site, they need to conduct a cut near the back of the property. Cuts at the back right here, so make sure I'm oriented correctly. A cut at the back, they're authorized to have a cut of 4 feet without any special authorizations. They need 4.89 feet. So this is a relatively small authorization for that pink zone on the map. Then on the front, they're allowed 4 feet by right. They need 1.72, so they're slightly over on the front. That would be the green area on the front of the map. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval. Be glad to answer any questions you might have or turn it over to the applicant for any questions you may have for them. Applicant?
Good evening, Council. Patrick Christensen, 315 East Commerce, San Antonio. I'm here with the owner developer, James Chang, and excuse me, the engineer, Eric Fly. Danny pretty much covered everything. We're trying to create a level site. We need to do a little bit more cutting in the back, a little bit more fill in the front. Personally, I hate it when people convert feet to decimal points. So just like just you can understand like I do. So in the front, where it's 45 feet away from Highway 46, we need 10.8 inches. In the back, we need 8 inches. So that's what we're asking for. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those. We respectfully request your support. Thank you very much.
So, the questions on this are not mine. Questions on this?
One question. Have we done, for this amount, I would imagine we've not done any drainage.
That'll be incorporated in the regular training report.
Okay. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that you're doing the best you can to work within the topography of the lot. You've done a good job raising it 4 feet to minimize the cut on the bank.
Some of this is required to make it ADA compliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be, zoning, ADA, and,
Yeah.
circulation as well, so. The building's perfectly fine, they just need to make the parking lot, but.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this.
So the water that drains from behind Starbucks, okay, that drains down that way. I've been there when it's raining, torrentially raining. So it drains towards where that property is going to be, right? How much is this gonna change that?
These guys are required to mitigate the increase in runoff of the recreation. So that's what the drainage infrastructure is back there.
There's an underground one too, right?
Correct. Yeah, our detention will be in the front, that's why it's down. Yeah. Detention's in the front, so all of the water runoff from the sides can be captured and contained. Runoff in the back is being, intercepted and then brought around to meet the drainage in the front.
So it will be ADA compliant on the back now, considering with this 0.7.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with this. I want to look at
So
it.
I'm gonna make one note, staff recommending one change to the ordinance that was proposed, whereas there was some generic language about justifying the variance, but this code has specific criteria that need to be met. So you all have a copy of the residential ordinance that lists out the findings and governance. And, it's not really a substantive change, but we point it out. So it's a difference from what's in the packet.
In the ABC,
The ABC.
Yep.
And Danny, that change just conforms with language in our code.
It's directly from our code, and it's just more clear than the previous language. It's not directly.
May I make a motion?
wait a minute. I just want to make sure I got this right. Okay, because I gotta change it. All right, yes, ma'am, please.
I make a motion that we approve the variance to sections 17.04.03 and 17.04.04 of the City of Liberty Code of Ordinances for 20285 State Highway 46 West, repealing conflicting ordinances and providing a severability clause and an effective date.
Second.
Do I need to read this, the changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are we building in there? Something good?
We are building a retail center and a DSC bank on the roughly 4-acre tract. First from HEB and the empty lot there, DSC will be permitting and building its own thing. Next door, you'll get some nice retail that our new care probably coming in and a lot of tenants, very active side. Like that, Einstein Bagels.
Einstein Bagels.
Yeah,
Yes.
So, we got a lot of really great retailers. They all are.
That's fantastic.
Well, welcome to the neighborhood.
Well,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'll come to thanks for bridging now live don't hold that used to. Florida Race is awesome. Have a range out here and very close to Florida, so we like the area. Obviously,
thank you.
Yeah, and now we have great sidewalks. You can walk to Einstein Bagel.
Texas did a great job with our own curb cut that matches the curb cut across street from the Popeye. So
great.
It's all lined up. It's Texas likes it. We like it. It's a great intersection.
Thank you so much. All right, moving on. Discuss and consider the approval of an ordinance granting. Wait a minute. Okay, granting a variance to section 3.08.102A3 of the City of Bulverde Code of Ordinances at 20779 State Highway 46, Bulverde, Texas, 78163, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause and establishing an effective date.
All right, Mayor and Council, this is the Chase Bank in front of the HEB, as you can see on that area map there. And then, let's see. Go to 96, page 96. Oh, there it is. When this sign package was originally approved over a year ago, or close to a year ago now, the Chase Bank chose to put most of their signage on the Highway 46 side. All they're left with on this side is an over-the-door applique that you can see there. And then I don't know, did we tag the next one? Or do I need to find it? They'd like to remove that applique and replace it with a sign there on that side of the building. Now that exceeds the allowable number and size of signs allowed under the ordinance. And so that's visually what they're requesting there. I'll be happy to, it's a variance of an additional 27.48 square feet for that secondary sign. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have and turn it over to the
Applicants here?
applicant.
Just a minute. Yeah, that's good. Sir, you can.
What makes this property uniquely situated compared with other commercial pad sites, and how do we avoid this becoming a general precedent for oversized secondary sites?
I'm so glad you asked that. My name is James McKnight. I'm here on behalf of Chase Bank, and I was going to go through all of the 4 properties that are required, the findings of fact for a variance, but one of them I'll go ahead and start with what makes the site unique, and that's just that if you look at all the other commercial sites in that area, you're going to find that you have essentially 2 streets. You either have a strip mall that's facing the street, or you have, like on the Singing Oak side, you see the IHOP and Panda Express. They have Singing Oaks behind them, and they have Highway 281 on the other side. So anytime you have these commercial structures, you don't have what we have, which is we have the Chase Bank that's sitting on Highway 46, and then you've got an HEB, all these other items around us. You've got a McDonald's, a fuel station, an HEB, but there is no road that separates us. There is a drive, but it's not a street, which means we don't get street signage. So for all those other commercial areas, they get a sign on the street and a sign on the street that are opposite each other. We don't have that. We have Highway 46, we have the Chase sign that's facing out, looking at customers on one side, and then you've got on the complete opposite side, the HEB side, where we would have a ton of customers if they knew it was a Chase Bank. All we have is the 8-inch sign is an applique in the window. So the hardship that we find here, or the practical issue, practical difficulty, is that we have a 2-sided building that are facing our 2 customers that we're trying to advertise to, but we don't have the ability to advertise to them equally.
You commiserate the situation since my parents still bank at the Chase near TCP Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know that Chase is there until I specifically pointed it out to them.
Yeah. So we had customer feedback after the bank was built, and have a list of them here. I can put it up here, but we had a ton of people say the same thing. They said they didn't know it was a Chase. You couldn't tell it was a Chase from the backside. So driving up, maybe you don't drive past that sign. Coming out of the HEB, perfect opportunity, but it's 300 feet away. And at 300 feet, you need that sign to be at least 30 inches tall to be able to see it. We had P&Z members, at least 2 P&Z members say the same thing, saying, I didn't know it was a Chase. I mean, my wife asked me, couldn't tell that that's what it was. So that's the practical difficulty that we're trying to face. One of the things I want to talk about harmony with the ordinance, because that is one of the findings of fact, is that it fits the spirit and harmony of the ordinance, is that if you look at the overall area that we're asking for, it is actually allowed, that area is allowed in the code without a variance. It's just
That's actually not correct. I'm sorry.
If you not what we're asking for, but if you do the full amount of the width of the building,
Actually not correct.
yes, 944 inches.
It's not correct, but I'll get to that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, if I'm doing the math on the drawings that they gave me,
When it's
it
my
shows-
turn, I'll explain.
okay, it shows the amount of signage that you're allowed, and then if you do 25% of that we're allowed on another side, that total area matches the total area. So what we're looking for is we are allowed a larger sign on this side of the building, but we're asking that we have two smaller on either side, rather than have just one larger sign, which is saying two smaller signs. And so we can practically address customers on both sides.
May I speak now? Thank you. So, I'm gonna say, first of all, I was surprised to see this come up. This was one of the first meetings we had, if not the first meeting that we had. And the current signage on this building was a compromise that we reached after lengthy discussion.
Yes.
And the choice to put that little thing over the door was Chase's to make. That was a Chase decision. We had extensive discussions in open session about it. The calculation actually is, as I understand it, and Danny, you can correct me, it's 25% of the primary sign, whichever is more restrictive. So you're not actually entitled to a sum total, which you divide in half. You have your primary sign under the ordinance, and you are entitled to a second sign that's 25% of that, not the entire portion of the building. So your math is wrong.
No, I'm agreeing with you. No, I'm saying if we had the primary signage at the allowed size, and then took 25% of that, had that smaller sign on the other side, that total amount.
So that's not our call. You made a call to put the sign. We had this conversation about were people on the HEB side going to be able to know that this was a Chase Bank? We discussed that at length. And so I have to be frank and say that this feels a little bit like a second bite at the apple coming back, since we already talked about this. Under our current ordinance, you would not be entitled to signage of the size you're asking for on the basis of your primary signage being what it is and where it is.
Correct. You're correct. Yes, that's right.
I feel like this is
it is a second bite at the apple, because what they compromised for, what they worked through, both you and I wasn't here. But
well, let me just interject and say that you also put signs up before you got the signs approved. So part of the issue the last time was that you had to take things down that you had put up without approval. And so I'm speaking for myself. I'm disinclined, but I'm speaking for myself. I feel like this is we had this conversation last year. You could have made different choices. It was pointed out that the HEB side might be the more advantageous. You guys elected to put the signage on 46.
I'm going to add to Councilman Watson's comments. Chase did put up signs that were not authorized at before y'all came to council, and I had driven by there and looked at them, and consequently they took them down. This conversation about Chase was very long and lengthy, and one of the reasons that the city went back to look at their sign ordinances. We have implemented new sign ordinances to avoid any type of variations being brought to council. And the decision was made by Chase, as Councilman Watson said, that the signage would go on the north side of the building versus the side towards HEB. That is correct, that the decision was made by Chase, not by city. And I am also not one that would be looking to approve this item at this point. I think one of the comments that came from Chase before, well, this is the way we do it in other cities. This isn't another city, and we're not looking to fill our city up with signs. We put new sign ordinances in place for a reason. We have lots of new businesses coming into the area in the last 3 years, and a lot more coming in the future. And we do not want to set this type of precedence. So I'm not anywhere close to.
Well, so the type of precedent that we're trying to help with is that we would agree that you don't want to set a precedent of having too many signs elsewhere. If you look at the buildings in the area, most of them have the Whataburger, the McDonald's. They have signage on all 4 sides. They're all the same size, and we're not trying to do that. So obviously, as part of one of those, the items that you look for in a variance is it in harmony? Well, we're doing less signage. We're just trying to address the practical reality of having 2 sides. We also have signage that's monument signage that's on the street.
Which
We
was a
could re-
variance that we,
Which
that was a variance we granted.
Yes, ma'am, and which we would say, in terms of trying to reduce that clutter, we would remove one of those signs, because it's more important for us to advertise that sign to the back of the HEB than it is to have something on 46 on the monument side. So we would remove signage and try to get what we really need out of this. I think part of the problem was maybe they didn't understand the site when they first started. They put up the signs before they should have. Obviously, that's not a great way to start. But once they started going through it, I don't think they fully understood which sign needed to be where. So at this point, they said, well, this is really what we should have started with. And now they're back here to say, we're trying to go through the process and address it the right way. We didn't address it the right way the first time. And this, so all we're ending up with is a chase on one side, a chase on the other. And that's really it. I mean, we're trying to do, not create the clutter, just have the same kind of advertising as everybody else in that area. McDonald's has it on all 4 sides. We just want one facing HEB. We're willing to remove signage on the road to do that and say, you know, yes, it was our fault. We did not do this correctly, and we're asking you to consider where we're at now for us to do it correctly.
Do I have any comments on this?
I have one more comment. In all fairness, the best laid plans never survived contact with the enemy.
Comments here?
You need to get in there, but I kind of understand what you're saying, and I agree with him. He didn't get it right the first time. You're back here the second fight it out. It cost $500 and our time. It appears that you guys have realized that the site would really benefit from a sign being here rather than there, and it's just size. I don't believe it's a monumental ask. I think it's appropriate. That's just my comment on the collective comments now.
Well,
I'm
from Bulverde, so they should have hired me to start with. That's really what.
So the monument sign is gonna go. That's part of this deal.
Yes, sir. We would say.
I don't see that in this documentation.
No. When she made the comments about the clutter and over signage, so I thought that we had talked about if that is too much signage, could we get rid of one of the signage? I said, yeah, I think we need to, and that.
I'd be okay.
Wait, I know, everybody, you're gonna get your chance. We're down there.
So, I mean, that was my thought. It's a big ask to come back and ask for the sign on the back of the building, which is where you should have had it in the first place. Instead, you wanted the monument sign on there, which was ridiculous. But that's what you wanted, so we gave it. But now you realize, well, I stepped in it. So you're back here asking for that. So I have it. I'd be willing to grant that, but that monument sign's got to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, and I'm stating right now, the monument side will go.
Councilman Watson.
The math is not mathing. Danny, can you help me? I want to make sure that I'm calculating this correctly. I'm sorry. So as I understand it, the ordinance says their primary sign has to be within a certain size.
So they have a certain allotment for their primary sign.
Okay, and they've made a selection, and it is what it is.
And I believe it is smaller than the maximum.
Smaller than the max allowed.
Yes.
Okay, whatever their size is, let's use round numbers. Let's say it's 100. If it's not, but let's for mathing portion of this. They can by right have a second sign. Is it by right? That's 25%
of what
the actual sign is.
Yes.
So if the actual sign is 100,
you get 25, even if you
then they
have
get
100.
25. Okay, so the real cap is actually 4 times what they're allowed, if I've done my math correct.
Oh my goodness. I don't even have a calculator.
Okay, well, and so I think it's even beyond what, because you didn't calculate it based on the size of the building the first time. You picked a sign size based on your branding. We had a whole conversation about that too. And that size now is what you're locked into, 25% of that, which is how we got to the size of the thing over the door.
Yes, that's right.
And so all of this was about a variance the first time around. And so basically, if we grant this, we're granting the thing we denied last year. And that's really what it boils down to. We're granting.
It was a different request. They did not, it wasn't just 2 signs. That first request wasn't just 2 signs.
It was 3 signs.
That's right.
But
So
it's actually 4.
Well, right. I'm struggling with it because I feel like we've suggested that perhaps the HEB side would be the better side,
And it was
I
a
don't know.
mistake.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so obviously this is what should have happened the first time it came around, front and rear facing facade. And that was erroneous not doing that. And I get the hardship. I mean, nobody can tell what it is coming from HEB. And I understand that you need a certain size at a certain distance to make it legible. And so the only way I'm gonna be okay doing this is if you get rid of your freestanding monument, your ATM surround signage and your vinyls. Then you just have front and rear facing chase signs. I think that's adequate.
The ATM and the monument sign, I don't know about the vinyls. We haven't talked about which vinyls are on there, but certainly.
Well, the vinyl.
There's vinyls on the glass.
Oh, that one, yes, yes.
And the original variant.
Correct. Yes, sir,
I have
yes.
another question. Because I actually drove this today. Even if you put a sign there, sitting at the door to the HEB, you can't see that facade at the door to HEB. You can see it if you drive it. If you drive down along that road, you can see it. I could not see it sitting in my car up by the HEB. So even if you put it up there, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure you're going to see it because it's too low.
At that height?
Yeah.
You mean like trees are blocking it, or it's too far?
I mean, it's too
That-
far
that
down.
we're in, yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't see, there was one spot along halfway down the parking lot where I could see that facade. I could not see that walking. I would not have been able to see that walking out of it.
But part of it is
I
also
apologize.
addressing those who drive. Right, it's not just standing in the parking.
Understood.
But doesn't your monument sign address that if you're driving in front of the,
Only on 46.
Only on
on 46? Well, everybody's
And
coming
before
on
you even
46.
Yeah, well, they
To
believe that the HEB back parking lot road should be classified as an actual road.
But you
So
can
they
see,
better-
you can see the sign which is over that door coming out of it.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion.
Well, I need to make a statement.
Oh, yes, please.
The charter requires ordinances to be presented to council in final written form before you vote on it. The only decisions y'all can make tonight, either approve the request or deny it. You wanna add more stipulations as was discussed here, staff's gonna have to go back and draft the ordinance to address those. I can't do something that complex on the fly here, and this would have to be tabled to,
Understand.
delayed to.
Okay, so-
Specifically the monument sign.
So I'm going to make okay,
It says you'll remove the final sticker on the door.
And we also move the actual face. The application it talks about the final as well as on the receiving monument sign on board.
okay, I'm gonna make a motion on this. I'm gonna make a motion to deny the approval of an ordinance granting a variance to section 3.08.0, or excuse me, .102A3 of the City of Bulverde Code of Ordinances at 20779 State Highway 46, Bulverde, Texas 78163, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severally cause massage and effective date. Do I have a second? Also, you second it? Take that to vote. All of those in favor? Say aye. All of those.
Like,
I'd
can
like
we
to
make a
table.
second? Yeah, I'd like to table it. I think,
Well, we already went to a vote.
But that motion failed, so I believe we can make another motion.
Yes, you can make another motion.
I'd like to make a motion, which item? Jay?
2H.
I'd like to make a motion to table discussion and consideration of approval and ordinance granting variance to section 3.08.102 A3 of the City of Warren Code of Ordinance at 20779 State Highway 46, Warren, Texas 78163, repealing conflicting ordinances, defining severability clause, and establishing a fixed date to a later date. Or we can work
We can't take, it's not the word is a table.
It's
postponed.
postponed to a later date.
Yes.
I second.
All of those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, moving on. Discuss and consider the approval of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bulverde, Texas, amending the storm drainage design criteria manual, section 5.2.3, access manholes, to revise standards for manhole lid diameters, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability to cause, and establishing an effective date.
Mayor and council, I've been informed by the development community and our own engineers that the special call out in the drainage manual requiring 36-inch manhole covers is a typo, and that 32 inches is the standard size for those type. What we have here is a proposed amendment that will just remove references from our code about the size and refer everything back to the City of San Antonio's provisions, which we use for everything else except manhole covers for some reason.
We could just make a motion just to vote on this if y'all are okay.
Any comment?
Okay, I'll make a motion to consider, to approval of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bulverde, Texas, amending the storm drainage design criteria manual, section 5.2.3, access manholes, to revise standards for manhole lid diameters, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date. All in favor? Oh, sorry, thank you. Sorry. I'm skipping a step. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, 2J, discuss and consider the approval of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bulverde, Texas, amending the City of Bulverde Code of Ordinances, Chapter 4, Business Regulations, Article 4.02, Alcoholic Beverages, to comply with state law, repealing conflicting provisions, adopting a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
Mayor and
Same
council,
thing.
ever since the extensive legislative changes of last year, staff has been struggling to comb through our code and find inconsistencies because the state has not been very gracious about things like this. So our current alcoholic beverage regulations were adopted in 2006. They are very much out of date with the current state of state law. And so what we've basically done is propose an ordinance that adopts almost verbatim the state statute, where the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Code is concerned. The state tells you exactly what you can do and says you shall not do anything else other than this. So the safest and most clear thing to do is just adopt their language and spare yourself the misery. We're going to have a follow-up amendment to the zoning ordinance, because right now we define a bar as something that's over 50% sales, and this code says 75%. So that'll be more to come. But this one needs to be updated to get us legal.
We just need a motion, the same thing. So we can.
Discussion? Nope.
Are there any pending or anticipated alcohol permit applications that affect that change?
No, everything we've got can be held, is within the confines of the state law and ordinance. It's not in those areas where they
Can't argue.
If there's anybody that would be affected by this, are they grandfathered? Not gonna have anybody on business hours.
I looked over our previous approvals. I don't think we've approved anything or had requests for anything in that within 300 feet of a house or something like that, which is something our ordinance has, but state law doesn't allow. I don't think we've got anybody at the moment who's in that, who would be affected, because what we're taking away is restrictions, so we wouldn't have allowed them anyway. So if they're there, they already beat those,
Right, that's what I'm asking. So for my understanding, so if their state was someone's business that would be affected by this, would they be grandfathered in the previous? Is that how it works? Or
I'll say that I don't think that's possible, because everything that's been approved already, we'd be talking about someone who was wrongly denied in the first place, because we're talking about additional scenarios where we would deny a permit. We're removing times when we would say no.
it was just a very general hypothetical.
I don't believe that they, I don't think it's possible. If it was, technically, yes, I don't think it's possible.
I won't press you here.
Sure.
That's fine.
You can't do anything with you. Okay, so basically we just need a motion
I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance of the city council of the city of Woodbury, Texas, amending the city of Woodbury Code of Ordinance, chapter 4, business regulations, article 4.02, alcoholic beverages to comply with state law, fulfilling conflicting provisions, adopting severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Danny, for all of these. I'm glad we're catching up.
Your mic is still.
Okay, we have no public comments. And reports by elected officials and city staff on items of community interest. Anybody? Anybody? Okay. July 4th is coming up. Offices are closed on July 4th.
July 3rd,
Excuse me?
offices are
Closed
closed.
on July 3rd, that's right. Because, and then I just want to say thank you to the guys who are working on our roads. There has been lots of comments about what they did on Casey Road. It's been very, very nice, and hopefully that will continue in Bulverde Hills. It looks like they're working there to get things done, and I think that's the only thing I have for this meeting. Okay, we're going to close this meeting at 7:39 for executive session.
Mayor, before you close and take.
Oh, go ahead.
Ms. Sunt, originally stated she was going to be able to make it for the interview, but she stated she had to leave town unexpectedly.
Okay.
So she can either do a phone speaker interview or we can reschedule.
Do the phone. Right?
Don't we have to have this in by a certain date? It wasn't that the
Yeah,
deal?
we have to vote on it tonight.
Pretty down to the wire.
Yes, because I think we have to have this done.
Let's do the phone.
Let's do the phone.
Then I will let her know. I will have her set up.
Okay,
Thank
that'll
you.
give us a few minutes. Yep. All right. Then we go in 7:40. Change the time on. All right, let's do it.
Bring back that issue for me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
No, there's one, but and it wouldn't fit in my carry-on.
Somebody tell me what the score is on the camera right now. Somebody look it up on their phone for me, please. positions. And, I think we have Mr. Lubell and Mrs. Sun. And, we will be voting, to add, those two,
Yes.
voting to appoint two people, and they will have sheriff stir for 2-year staggered terms. Their term will expire in June 2028. So, I will, nominate, Mr. Bell, for, the position, of joining the zoning board of adjustment as a new member. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That is unanimous. And then our second applicant, which is Mrs. Sun. And I will nominate her to, the zoning board of adjustment also, with the term expiring in June 2028.
We need a second for these.
Is it just a nominate?
I would recommend that there's
Appoint
a
them.
first and a second to appoint both individuals.
Okay, so, we did a motion to nominate Mr. Lubell. I'll need a second.
Appoint.
I think it's a point.
To appoint, okay.
I'll second that.
Okay,
To appoint Lubell.
and then, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And then I'll make a motion to appoint, Mrs. Sun.
I will second.
Okay, and we have a second, and all of those in favor?
Aye.
And her term will also terminate in June 2028. Okay, additionally, each year at the time of a regular appointment of new members, the city council shall appoint members of the board, chairman and vice chairman to serve for 1 year beginning in that month. So this term of a chair and a vice chairman will go through June 2027. So we have now a full group, board of 5. And we would take a nomination for who we would like to nominate to the position of chairman first.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a recommendation. I'd like to nominate Mike Ashmore, who is currently vice chair of the ZBOA, to the position of chair. And at the same time, I'd like to nominate Sharon Parson, who is a current member, to be vice chair. I know both individuals to be.
Okay, let's do one at a time because again, we
Okay.
have to vote, right? So let's start with your chair.
Yep.
Councilman Watson has nominated Mike Ashmore to be chair.
I'll second.
We have a second for that. And all of those in favor, if I don't have any other nominations?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we also have a motion to nominate Sharon Parsons as a vice chair. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all of those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, and so we're good, and we'll adjourn this meeting at 8:01. Oh, my goodness.
Maybe we'll find a TV to go yell at.
I know,
Flash is up.
I know, I already saw that.